And we're live. Jiu-jitsu. It's a must. Of course. Good morning, I'm Bear with BearIndependent.com. This is the Bear Brief. If you're new here, this is not your typical preparedness show. We're not going to talk necessarily about warheads on foreheads or the coming EMP and the best AK for SHTF. No, we talk about things that actually matter here. So if you want actual intelligence, actual information that will allow you to navigate the uncertainty coming in the days ahead, go ahead and subscribe and ring the little bell icon. If you're not new here, you know the drill, you know what to do. Hit the thumbs up button. That helps us in our ongoing battle against the YouTube algorithmic robots. And share this with somebody you think needs to see it. Also, not only are we on YouTube today, but because it's Friday, we have the juvenile Asian intelligence operatives on the other phone. So hello to the intelligence operatives and good morning, Bear Nation here on YouTube. By the way, if you are on the, if you're one of those juvenile Asian intelligence operatives, the bulk of what we do is on YouTube. I know YouTube is old people stuff, but I'm an old people. Look at the gray in my beard, all right? So if you'd like to know how to not die in the days, weeks, months, years ahead, come see us on YouTube. Bear Independent Brief, 12 August 22. You may have heard the Fed boys, the FBIs, they went and did a thing at Mar-A-Lago. Mar-A-Lago being Donald J. Trump's 45, his personal residence. After the unprecedented Mar-A-Lago raid, voters on both sides of the aisle have lost what faith they had left in the FBI and possibly the Department of Justice as a whole. I would agree with that. I'm on neither side of the aisle. I'm not even like walking in the, I'm not in the aisle. I'm not in the building. I don't care. I'm outside the building, drinking beer in the parking lot, watching the tomfoolery that's going on as people come and go from the building where the aisle is. The raid was based largely on one confidential human source placed at Mar-a-Lago by the FBI, who said that, quote, Trump was hiding classified documents, end quote, at that location. The search will have massive implications for both democracy in the U.S. and the future of federal law enforcement. Jesse Waters of Fox News said, quote, the guy who's running the FBI field office in D.C. is the same guy who had moles in the Gretchen Whitmer kidnapping plot, and you wonder why the FBI can't stop a single mass shooting, right? All these active shooters that we've had to deal with lately, how many of them was the FBI aware of? Interesting, because of my job at Grindstone Ministries in Caleb House, rescue and rehabilitation facility for juvenile human trafficking survivors, I read a lot of FBI reports, and there's one group that I wouldn't say we're interested in, but we're aware of. The FBI has a 61-page report on them detailing human trafficking, murder, rape, sodomy, tax evasion, theft, and a slew of other charges since 1984. And after a 61-page report, the report concludes with, no charges were filed, no arrests were made. What the hell are you doing? Somebody had to generate 61 pages of intel. You got these people dead to rights. And 1984? What's that, 38 years? You done nothing? You're welcome for the tax dollars. Continuing in the quote from Jesse Waters, and you wonder why the FBI can't stop a single mass shooting, can't protect Supreme Court justices, can't stop Chinese spies from sleeping with Eric Swalwell, can't sniff out Chinese spies. They're right here. They're on this phone, on this app. Can't sniff out Chinese spies driving home Dianne Feinstein. Can't stop the Chinese from stealing our secrets. Can't stop the Russians from hacking our pipelines. Couldn't stop Epstein. By the way, where's the client list? You know why you're never going to get Epstein's client list? It's because they're on it. The big they're all on it. Yeah. Giswell Maxlane didn't kill herself. She's still alive, Bear. Give it time. She didn't kill herself. Neither did Epstein. Couldn't stop Epstein, but they can stop what happens at Trump's Palm Beach estate. End quote. That pretty well sums it up. in my mind. People on both sides are alarmed at the future implications of this politically motivated raid, especially after the way Clinton's servers and Hunter Biden's laptop scandals were handled. I agree completely. You're concerned about potentially classified material at Mar-a-Lago? Guess what? The President of the United States of America is a classifying authority. He gets to say if something is classified or top secret or TSSCI, top secret sensitive compartmentalized information. He can also change the classification of intelligence and reports as he sees fit. He is a classifying authority. It's like saying, we're going to go to Bear's house and arrest him for all the Jocos he has. I bought them. They're mine. There's nothing wrong with these. Well, he gave Jocos to Liberty. They're my Jocos. I generated the Jocos. I get to decide who gets them. I am the authority on the Jocos. They're mine. The president is a classifying authority. He gets to decide what is top secret, what isn't, and he can change the classifications on that information. Unlike Hillary Rodham Clinton, by the way, I didn't kill myself either, and I'm not suicidal. So if I turn up in a culvert somewhere, you know what happened. Unlike Hillary Clinton, who had her own private servers. No, not an issue. No big deal. She testified in front of Congress a couple of times. Oh, I'm so sorry. We made a mistake. No big deal. Won't happen again. Yeah, I don't believe you. People on both sides are alarmed at the future implications of this politically motivated raid, especially after the way the Clintons' servers and Hunter Biden's laptop scandals were handled. Yeah, the Parmesan Prince. Oh, that's not me. I wasn't smoking crack. I was smoking Parmesan. That's something crackheads say, just so we're all on the same page here. That is not an explanation. That's exactly...
Like Smarties back in the day, people like jokingly smoked.
Yeah, Smarties.
Oh, gosh.
I don't know.
That would have been a better answer than Parmesan.
I've never smoked crack. I did a lot of cocaine back in the day. Praise Yah, not anymore. And if you have that much money, why are you smoking crack? Blow lines, homie. Like, be an adult about it. There is even some concern that the air quote evidence of some crime could be planted amid all the material that was removed from the estate, and there would be no way of knowing. This is part of a months-long investigation running parallel to the January 6th trials, which is the epitome of bread and circuses. The Jan 6 trials, Insurrection Day, that's what an insurrection looks like. If that's what the federal government considers a threat, how shall I phrase this appropriately? Morning. If that's what the federal government considers a threat, no wonder they're worried about airsoft guns.
You couldn't see it on this one.
I know, because the Chinese don't like it. Oh, put a airsoft gun on video. Get banned live stream again. Much bad. Very soon. No make video. Kiss my ass. It's clear that there's a great focus on disqualifying Trump from running again in future elections. Yeah. Though many espouse that letting him run again could compromise the integrity of the election systems. One trial lawyer, Krista Ramey, blatantly stated, quote, Donald Trump needs to be indicted and charged, and not charging him will endanger future elections in this country, end quote. First of all, future elections are already endangered. Dominion voting systems, anybody? 2,000 mules? Dinesh D'Souza, anybody? Just watch the trailer for 2,000 mules. It's disgusting what we have allowed to happen in this country. I'm not prophesying here, but I expect come 2024, there will be militants on both sides of the aisle at polling stations just to make sure that there's no shenaniganry going down. And to a certain extent, there should be oversight. Oh, the polls closed at 10 p.m. Cool. We're going to camp on this location for the next 72 hours. People talk all the time about, we need to take America back. We need to make it great again. Cool. That's a good place to start. If you firmly believe that there was vote manipulation going on, voter fraud, and I think that there was in the 2020 election, and you have a group of highly motivated individuals, maybe train up some capabilities and go camp on a polling spot. Not to interdict potential voters, just to pay attention that maybe at 3 o'clock in the morning, there's not vans full of ballots showing up. Yeah, stuff like that. Just saying, power to the people. All right, go do powerful shit then, or quit talking. Somebody needs to do something about that. You're somebody, or quit talking. In the aftermath of the raid, the DOJ, Department of Justice, and the FBI, federal boys, are receiving an avalanche of calls from both lawmakers and the media to, quote, violate long-standing protocols and release information about the investigation, which could be derogatory to Trump and presumed 2024 presidential election candidates who hasn't been accused of a crime, end quote, according to NBC News. Interesting syntax in that sentence. Additionally, it has been reported that Biden and Hunter, quote, have gone on another vacation, end quote. And Attorney General Merrick Garland is nowhere to be found as things heat up. There is an us versus them dichotomy. It's 100% true. The beast system is out of line, has been out of line for a long time. I think one of the reasons that we're more attuned to this right now is because of social media. Because everybody now has the ability to be an investigative journalist. Like, we all have the NSA tracking device we carry around in our pocket, right? It's entirely possible. The reporting that happened back in the day, like when Iran-Contra was going down, that was bad stuff. But not everybody was aware of it, right? And so there's more light being shown on the shenanigans nowadays. And that's good. That's good. But they've been corrupt for a long time, a long, long time. They're not going to change their ways, right? Like a leopard doesn't change its spots. They are what they are. That's the whole point of this channel. Bear independent. Be independent of that broken, fragile system. So it does matter what the FBI did at Mar-a-Lago in the macro, but in the micro, it doesn't change what I'm going to do today. It doesn't change how I'm going to live my life. If it affects your life in such a way that it forces you to make necessary changes to your life, you were probably prioritizing wrong with how you spend your time in the first place anyway. You're still whoring with the Babylonian system, the beast system. These are just men and women that are just as broken as you are. They're just as normal as you are. The difference being that they have decided to prioritize corruption and revenue in their lives versus the rest of us, I would assume, who are here at this channel, who are trying to do good stuff rather than bad stuff. But they're still people. They're just people. And allowing them to have any type of effect on your life, allowing them to create any undue stress in your life. Excuse me, no bueno. To be clear, the issue is not the raiding of a powerful person who may illegally be harboring classified documents. The issue is that one party in a divided country appears to be using the FBI as their own private Gestapo to force elections and therefore taxpayer dollars in their favor. Everyone in or from higher office should abide by the law or be held accountable, but it should be regardless of party, personality, or anything else. House Republican Whip Steve Scalise tweeted, quote, "Let's be clear, this is a brazen weaponization of the FBI by Biden's Department of Justice against his political opponent, while giving their political allies free passes. It's exactly why the IRS shouldn't get an army of 87,000 more agents. House Republicans will hold them accountable next year." End quote. Now, Steve Scalise, love the sentiment. Couple of problems. First of all, I don't believe you as far as House Republicans doing anything, because politics is a game where you talk a lot, do very little, and then extrapolate money from your constituency. So I don't believe you. Deeds, not words, homeboy. Do it. Don't talk about it, be about it. Also, next year, that's cute because you're waiting for the midterm elections. Maybe grow a pair of balls and do something about it right now, asshole. How about that? Maybe we do that. Maybe you do the job you were elected to do now rather than a year from now. Hey, Liberty, I need $50 to mow your lawn. I'll be there somewhere mid-August 2023.
You'll get paid when it's done.
You'll get paid when it's done. That's a good policy. Maybe we should start doing that with our politicians. Hey, we're going to hold your pay until you do all the things you said you were going to do. I love that. That's the basic. Good job. You're hired. We'll keep you.
Okay.
Now, if you're on Patreon, you have the relevant links to this morning's brief. If you're not on Patreon, you don't have the relevant links. There's a link in the description of every video and live stream on the YouTubes to go over to Patreon. It's $5 per month. That's nothing in today's economy. That's not even a sack of potatoes anymore. It's not a can of Skol. It's 2 energy drinks. That's 1 caramel macchiato from the Mermaid Coffee Place. That's 3 9mm hollow points, 50 foot of paracord. Like it's $5 a month. This morning, we're talking about work-life balance and prioritization and execution and time management and how do you do it all? I don't. I have a team of people who are badass that help me do it all. But even if you don't have a team of people, which you should, we discussed all of that this morning on Patreon. So it's not just an I love me, you should love me too page. There's actual value being produced over there. Now, bonus intel from the Bear Nation. How long have we been doing this for? 16 minutes, 17 minutes. Awesome. 1,500 people over here. How about intelligence operatives? How many intelligence operatives we got?
150?
150 intelligence operatives. Scribbling like crazy with their pens into their composition notebooks. Yeah, the TikTok comments, I'm not saying all of y'all are assholes, but a lot of y'all are assholes. Well, why are you on here? Why are you on here? There's a better question. You go ahead and provide some value to people, build an audience of more than 160,000 people, and I'm going to show up to your live stream and talk shit on you while you do it. Sound good? Oh, right. You don't have the discipline to do anything other than leave shitty comments, so you're not going to do any of that. Got it. Bear Independent bonus intel, 12AUG22. Medical. All of these are quotes. I'm not going to say quote unquote over and over again. First, I am going to take a sip of today's show sponsor. Just kidding. We buy these. Jocko Go. Tropic Thunder. This is the pineapple and coconut one.
The Citrus Psycho is that new one is my favorite.
You're down with the Citrus Psycho?
Yep.
Nice. That's not the Palmer, which is the half and half iced tea and lemonade. I like that one.
The Citrus Psycho is like brand new flavor.
Oh, I haven't had this
like
one.
A Sprite, like a lemon lime.
What?
I guess we've been holding on to that at the office.
Yeah, apparently. All right, so I'm on day 40 of 75 hard, which means in 36 days, I'm going to have a whiskey and Citrus Psycho on the rocks. So make sure we hold the case back for Boss Man.
Got it.
Company perks. They also have like a zero cost like Skittles, M&Ms, and Reese's Pieces like vending machine area in the back of the. Whatever it takes. You know? This is what it takes to get first aid kits out to y'all. We have to hype them up with sugar and Jocos so that they'll. And
Moose Run. No,
and Moose Run Coffee as well. That's correct. Shout out to our brother and sister at Moose Run Coffee. So.
A little bit of everything.
There's coffee pots, there's sugar, there's Jocos, and tacos tend to show up pretty regularly at the office as well.
Oklahoma, there's not much other.
Yeah, it's true. Y'all want to eat an armadillo? No, we're good, thanks.
You got Sonic or Mexican?
Medical. I work in payroll at a hospital healthcare company. During an all-hands for the ER department, which I sat in on, it was announced that there would be further reduction in medical staffing in August as hospital residencies and internships typically end in this month so they can go back to school. This will further exacerbate the medical staffing shortages. From Indiana, at the hospital, level 1, IV saline new tubing is not compatible with our machine. No tubing for our level 1. Indiana nurses still quitting in droves, leaving healthcare for good. People giving away dogs because they can't afford them. New homeless population increasing in the cities. Maggots on them when they're coming into the ER. Ugh. Patients being transported to our small town hospital. They did this during COVID and it spread disease to small towns. So medical is like, it's a mess. That's why we tell you guys to go to refugemedical.com, buy American-made kits. Hey, listen, if we're going to get through the next year, 5 years, 10 years of whatever it is that's coming down the pipe that they have allowed to happen, if not made happen, America is going to, we're in a recession. Okay, it doesn't matter. Just like they can't define what a woman is anymore. Pretty basic. You got a uterus, woman. You got a beard, probably not a woman, right? If you got dangle bits, if your bits are on the outside, not a woman. If your bits are on the inside, woman. Yeah, male and female, he created them. I read this old book written by God where it says that in the first chapter. Like, pretty straightforward, right? Foundational knowledge. But medical stuff is going to hell in a handbasket. And that's why we've been telling you, if you want to support an American small business, which is going to be necessary for America to weather the storm that comes ahead, there is hope here. We can make it, but not if we keep sending all of our money, our blood, sweat, tears, time, and treasure overseas to all of our freaking enemies. RefugeMedical.com. Newsflash, I own the damn company. Truth in advertising. And newsflash, that barn right there, look, I'm even going to pan, okay? That piece of crap barn right there, see that barn? That's where I started that company 2.5 years ago. The American dream is dead. Okay, why are we on 4 continents right now? Why have we saved 50 people's lives? Why are there 20 families that eat off of what we do at Refuge Medical? 8,000 square foot facility. Hundreds of thousands of dollars in inventory for y'all so that we can provide you with the best kits on the planet. That was started in that barn 1 hour per week 2.5 years ago. So you want to make America great again? Pour into things like that. Pour into people like that. Pour into people that are doing stuff, not just talking about it. Food and agriculture. I'm an accountant, and one of my farmer clients and friends just left my office. While here, he explained that we should expect a tomato shortage in early to mid 2023. He grew 1,000 acres this year for the first time. He made the decision based on current cold storage inventory. The inventory is extremely low. He explained in great detail that there is currently a little over 12 weeks in the cold storage where typically there is 4 times that. Some reasons he gave is the increased demand for products such as tomato sauce and ketchup in places like China. He joked that maybe demand would drop if we go to war. Anyway, he outlined the coming shortage of several crops he personally grows. It is real, and they include grapes, tomatoes, and grains. War with China, I'm not counting it out because anything's possible, especially with the Chinese. They're a little... What's a nice way of saying it? Wackadoodle. That sounds like something somebody's aunt would say. Oh, you're just a little wackadoodle. They can be psychotic at times, right? And they have that Asian pride. Sorry, China. It'll be okay. But this whole Pelosi's plane incident where they did nothing but talk, you combine that with the fact that they're now watching what happened in Ukraine, what is happening in Ukraine, where Russia didn't steamroll the Ukrainians, and to a greater or lesser extent, the global community rallied around Ukraine. And it wasn't easy for Russia. It's still not easy for Russia. I think has China reconsidering this whole forced reunification of Taiwan issue. Because there's a key terrain feature that China has to deal with. The Taiwanese Strait, 100 miles, and their sea lift capability isn't very good. We estimate that they can sea lift about 25,000 troops, which sounds like a lot of people, but we also estimate they need somewhere around 500,000 in order to be able to actually take Taiwan. Not great. Not great. And they don't want to bomb Taiwan to smithereens. They want to reunify Taiwan with the mainland because they need their production capabilities. They need their demography. They need their people. They need the revenue. They need the tax base. So destroying it is the opposite of what they want to do. Next, just heard from my boss that his son, who works for the Campbell's division of Pepperidge Farms, held a mid-management meeting today in California, and they were all laid off. They were all summoned for a conference call with the CEO, and they were told they were all let go. It was reported the CEO basically read a pre-prepared script to tell them they were all fired. Not sure of the numbers yet, but more conference calls were scheduled with other levels within the organization. So that sucks. Also, stock up on soups and Milano cookies. I like the elves and the tree cookies too, though. The little shortbread cookies with the stripes across the top of them. I'm not really a sweets guy until I am. It's like one day per quarter, I just get a hankering, and I'm like, today's the day. Diabetes, right? What about you, Liberty? What's your favorite cookie?
Thin Mints.
Thin Mints. Nice.
Anything mints and chocolate.
Are there even Girl Scouts anymore? I mean, how do we define a woman? If we don't know how to define a woman, how do we define a girl? Are they people scouts now? Person scouts? I don't know either. But those, the chocolate ones with the peanut butter on the inside, damn, those are good. Tagalongs, I think they're called.
Maybe.
I am not politically or ideologically aligned with the person scouts, but some things, like life is full of compromise, and I will compromise the shit out of some Tagalong cookies. They are what's up. Just saying. Like, you catch me outside the Walmart with your little folding table set up, when I go in there to buy some steaks, it's probably going down. My wife and I have been adding food to our foodstuffs and have been keeping an eye on the amount of 50-pound bags of rice at the local Sam's Club in Brandon, Florida. Brandon, Florida. Last week, approximately 21 July 22, all forms of rice had a minimum of 2 full pallets of rice that were roughly 2 foot wide, 2 foot long, 6 foot high in size, with long grain rice being the most picked. Today, my wife went to, I think you also sent this information to Southern Prepper One. I heard this on Southern Prepper One. Good job if you did. Also, what's up, Dave? I understand you're a good fella. I like you. Keep up the good work. And if you like this portion of the intel brief, go watch Boots on the Ground with Southern Prepper One. He does at least one of them per day. I'll add one caveat. If you're watching me or him or anybody else so you can get your blood pressure up and get all spun up in a tizzy but not do anything about it, stop. That's called masturbation. It's fruitless. That, like, Onan gets smoked for that in the Old Testament, for spilling his seed upon the ground. You're spilling your prepper seed upon the ground if that's all you're doing. It will not lead to fruit. Knock it off. Go do something with the intelligence. That's the reason we provide it, to spur you to action. Your response here should not be, there's no rice. Oh my God, the world's gonna end. It should be, rice is getting a little scarce. It's Friday, it's payday. I should get some more rice. And then when I do, I'm also going to get some 5-gallon Marlar bags, some 2,000 cc oxygen absorbers, and some buckets with O-ring lids and some buckets. And I'm going to put that stuff in buckets so that I have some rice in case the world be getting stupid, yo. That's the appropriate response to that. Not dopamine hits and share, start a new thread on Reddit about how the freaking world's ending. We know it's ending. Today, my wife went to the food hall and noted that the basmati rice has been completely picked clean. She did not inquire on if there would be more shipments, but food shortages to this extent have been a low threat and uncommon in this part of the country. India is not exporting rice. Just recently came out and said, hey, no more rice exports. It's kind of a big deal. That part of the world, people eat rice. Like here in America, we're like corn fed. We eat a lot of corn, we eat a lot of wheat. Well, in that part of the world, they eat a lot of rice. And actually, India 2 months ago was like, here's what we're going to do. Global wheat is down because of Russia, Ukraine. We'll export wheat. Nope. They were trying to 17x their wheat exports. You know what they realized? Can't do it. We have to keep this food internal. They were talking like India was going to be a big up-and-comer on the world stage because of their ability to generate revenue through food exports. Turns out they can't, because they, like all of us who are engaged in globalization, were also dependent upon imports to make those food exports. And those imports not happening anymore. India is part of BRICS, the unilateral security agreement of BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. It's looking like Turkey, Erdogan might join BRICS as well, which is interesting because Turkey is also an air quote NATO ally. So that'll be fun to see how that goes. So potential that Turkey gets flipped, but we'll see what happens with that. But point being that Russia is the number one exporter of phosphates and fertilizers in the world. India is trying to spin up their food production. They're both part of BRICS. And China has a whole bunch of people that it can't feed. So, interesting stuff going on. Security. Despite tightening of regulations and the quelling of domestic oil and gas production since the election, Texas oilfield service companies, including frack and drilling contractors, are mobilizing equipment and holding job fairs all over the state. Evidently, these companies are anticipating a dramatic uptick in production after remaining basically idle for several months. Whiskey Alpha Romeo. That's code word around here if you've been in the Bear Nation long enough for war. Also remember, we have no strategic reserves anymore because in a massive amount of wisdom, our current federal leadership released the strategic reserves, not only to China for profit, to a firm which the son of the ice cream grandpa sits on the board of, because that definitely happened. Nobody talks about it, but it was in the news cycle. It definitely happened. We also released it so we could drop the cost of gas a few cents per gallon, because that was wise. Because we let an 80-something-year-old man with Alzheimer's run the free world. No, we could also acknowledge that the president's just a figurehead. If any presidency has ever proved that, it's this one. The president is just a figurehead. But, yeah, we don't have a strategic reserve of oil anymore. So, that'll be fun. Hot war. We'll see. Rome burning and supply chain issues. Quote, I work for a large electric and gas utility in New England. During a recent presentation by the president of the electric operations, question was asked whether the global natural gas situation could result in rolling blackouts in New England. Shockingly, the president answered with startling honesty that yes, the company is actively monitoring the gas situation and is very concerned about rolling blackouts. He explained that New England is prone to natural gas shortages during winter for the reason that natural gas is first allocated to residential heating customers and gas-fired electric generating plants receive whatever gas remains. Natural gas constitutes approximately 65% of New England's electric generation fuel source. So during a prolonged cold snap, the natural gas supply can be drawn down and power plants simply shut down. New England has no indigenous natural gas supply, and most of the gas comes through New York via pipelines. New York has deemed that no new gas pipelines may be constructed because of environmental reasons. It's so bad. It's in a pipe. That's the whole point. It's like, that's why you shit in a diaper, because we don't want to shit everywhere else, right? That's what the pipe does. It keeps the gas in the pipe, so it'll flow from point A to point B. I'm so glad I don't live in New York anymore. I haven't been in New York in close to 2 decades. Ugh.
We had somebody who was like, does my HSA still work if I'm in New York? Like, I know their rules are just insane. I'm like, why are you still there?
Yes. Your HSA and FSA still works at refugomedical.com if you live in New York. You're going to need more kits if you live in New York. Buy all the kits if you live in New York. Or spend that money on a U-Haul truck and GTFO. So New York said no more natural gas pipelines. New York has deemed that no new gas pipelines may be constructed, so New England is basically up a creek with its gas capacity. Additionally, there are only 2 ports in New England that can accept shipments of liquefied natural gas. However, all the LNG is being shipped overseas to the highest bidder in light of the global situation. Also, the bread and butter items of our trade, transformers and utility poles, are in very limited supply. Yes, they are. I've been hearing that from people directly and indirectly for half a year now. The stocks of poles and transformers are being reserved for emergency restoration use only, like after a storm, and most scheduled preventative maintenance work using those resources has been suspended. My advice to fellow New Englanders is to make sure your generator is running properly and that your wood stove is in good repair. And that is the brief for today. If you don't want to hang out and talk about how to support the show, this is your invitation to beat feet, skedaddle, get out of here. Have a blessed day. Shalom. If you do want to talk about how to support the show, we'll do that now. Let's see. Is there anybody still here? 1,833 people. Y'all are crazy. 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 Again, if you're new here, subscribe, ring the little bell icon. If you're not new here, you know what to do. Share the show with people you love. Give it a thumbs up. That helps us. Leave a comment down below, even if it's just an algo bump, right? Yeah, that's a thing, the algo bump. It helps. Now, we already talked about Patreon. There's a link in the description of every YouTube video and live stream. Patreon is the economic engine of the Bear Nation. So we would not do YouTube if it wasn't for Patreon. So thank you to the patrons. Appreciate you all very much. Refuge Medical. What are we doing? What's going on right now? What are we doing?
Buy an adventure kit, get 50% off the bucket.
Ooh, all right. So if you buy an adventure kit at refugemedical.com, Refuge Medical. It's not Refugee Medical, by the way. Refuge Medical. It's spelled like this, okay? Here's the patch. Right? refugemedical.com. If you buy an adventure kit right now, which is the perfect kit for your vehicle, your homestead, your school bus, your kayak, your Jeep, your minivan, you get 50% off a wound care bucket.
Or the birth bucket.
Or the birth bucket, or the postpartum bucket, any bucket you want. So the Refuge kit is like literally broken bones, Band-Aids, bullet holes. It covers all of that. In an American-made pouch using top-notch components from North American Rescue, TacMed Solutions, Medline. It's a badass kit. The wound care bucket is a bucket, because preppers love to put stuff in buckets, that's filled with everything you need to treat one grievous injury for a minimum of 30 days. Gauze, tape, gloves, disinfectant. It's a loot drop for wound care, okay? You can add an MSK military surgical kit to that. You can add an advanced surgical kit to that with, sutures and instrumentation and the whole nine if you want to. The birthing bucket is everything you need to deliver a baby post-SHTF in a bucket, stored, ready to go. Don't have to worry about it. So like long-term preps, what do we do if people have babies? You pull the bucket out of the closet and you're like, all right, push.
If you get the birth bucket, you should get the postpartum
You
bucket.
should all, I was going to go there next. And the postpartum bucket.
People are like, do we just need the birth bucket? I'm like, no.
The birthing bucket is for the baby. That's a bunch of alliteration right there. Birthing bucket is for the baby. Birthing bucket is for the baby. The postpartum bucket is for mom. Okay?
Mom's doing the hard work.
Yeah, that's right. We should put like little airplane bottles of tequila in there.
I'm not ready to.
But I mean, like, down to Eldon blood typing cards in the birthing bucket, a certificate of birth.
And it comes with 3, so you can do mom, dad, and baby.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like, it's very well thought out. Yep. So if you buy an adventure kit, you get 50% off any bucket right now. Limited time offer. Buy, go, whatever. ShamWow the shit out of it. I don't care. Bear Facts are in stock. This is the Bear Fac, for those that don't know. Fac is a first aid kit. This one's mine. There are many like it, but this one is mine. It's been riding around in that backpack right over there. I got a soft tee on the outside right here. Soft tee tourniquet, which, by the way, soft tees are now available. If you need just a tourniquet, we got, 500 of these?
At least, yeah.
From TacMed. Thanks to TacMed for being good to us. These are available in the store right now as a standalone component. So if you just need a tourniquet, this is a Committee on TCCC recommended windlass tourniquet.
Black and orange.
Black and orange are in stock at refugemedical.com. And if you use promo code BEARNATION, you get free shipping on everything in the store, but you can't use that in conjunction with the Adventure Kit promo. Bear Fac, right? Pop this thing open, pull the red tab, ta-da, inner pouch comes out, pull the red tab, kit comes apart, pressure bandage, tourniquet, Sharpie, tape in the back here. You've got shears, nasopharyngeal airway, burn tech dressing, 2 5x9s, 2 high-fin chest seals, and then in the bottom, down here, you've got your quick clot rolled gauze for wound packing. You've got a survival blanket, compressed gauze, triangular bandage, rolled gauze, eye shields, 2x2s, 4x4s, 5x9s, the whole nine. Now, I can sit here and talk to you all day about Refuge Medical stuff, but we actually got some pretty interesting testimony that came in recently, and I'll read them to you. So here's one that came in August 5th from Corey. Appreciate you, Corey. As a medic, I cover a very large, very rural area, including almost 90 miles of interstate. We have several volunteer fire departments that we work with regularly. Today, they had cause to place a TQ on a large thigh. The rat's tourniquet did nearly nothing. I hate the rat's tourniquet. It's not a tourniquet. Go look up on Committee on TCCC recommendations for a tourniquet. It checks 0 boxes of what they recommend. I hate it. And I break them 50% of the time with their first use. We break them in class all the time at Refuge Training. The rat's tourniquet did nearly nothing and was tightened once after application. In my experience and test it, and he also said, hey, please keep me anonymous. So I totally blew that. I apologize. Everybody forget Corey's name. The rat's tourniquet did nearly nothing and was tightened once after application. In my experience and test and training, the rat's does not work on large legs at all. They then placed a cat, but did not tighten it appropriately. I had to tighten it upon my arrival, and the windlass snapped in my hand. I don't know who else that has happened to, but it ruined my calm for a moment. Upon review afterwards, it was not a genuine cat as you would expect. Fortunately, I carry on my person at least one cat tourniquet and often two. We got the bleeding controlled and all turned out well, praise Yah. Please check your gear and triple check if you didn't get the gear from the manufacturer or from Refuge Medical. We don't sell anything but the real stuff. I've gotten several kits and some bits and pieces from Refuge, although this TQ came from work. Thanks, Refuge, for what you do. Thank you for what you do. Good job saving people's lives out there. This is a real Gen 7 cat tourniquet. I'm telling you, people all the time are like, well, the ones from China are just as good. No, they're not. We break them all the time in training. I bought a 4-pack of Chinese tourniquets for $20 and broke them in 6 minutes in a video. Each one. Broke all 6 of them in different ways on a video to illustrate how they break. They're garbage. And the whole idea of saving a few dollars on life-saving equipment, it's the dumbest shit on the face of the earth, because you're using that tourniquet on something that's literally irreplaceable, a human life. Maybe it's your children, maybe it's your husband or wife, maybe it's mom, dad, grandpa, your best friend. It's like, oh, I saved $10 on this tourniquet. Oops, but they're dead. That's retarded.
Cut costs in other ways.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. 3 fewer caramel macchiatos, you can buy a real tourniquet. And then this guy over here said, from Daniel, Bear, big fan of the channel and also a patron. One of my favorite aspects of your content is the emphasis on first aid, trauma care, and wound care. So I decided to try and construct a wound care bucket myself from Amazon. But when I tried, I discovered that I could not recreate your wound care bucket for the price you charge at Refuge Medical. Doing it myself would have cost at least 20% more. So I ordered one of yours. I opened it up and I was impressed with how stuffed it was with wound care goodness. Then I ordered 3 more. Keep up the good work, Dan. Appreciate you, Dan. Thank you. So that's other people's words, not mine. Our stuff is made in America. It's guaranteed forever. If you break it, I will replace it, no questions asked. If you use the kit to save somebody's life, I will replace all of the components, if not the entire kit that you used, no questions asked. We want to empower good people to go out there and save lives. To that end, something I've been thinking about, and maybe we're going to call it the Save One More Challenge. There are 3 ways that I would like you to be mindful about how you can save somebody's life. 3 ways. We're going to start from, in hierarchy, the least important move to the most important. And also, I don't know, level of difficulty is going to vary from person to person, right? The first way, save one more challenge, okay? So this is for you, Bear Nation. If you are within the sound of my voice, let's check in next Friday on the save one more. And if you did this in between now and next Friday, send me an after action report. Send it to Intel at Bear Independent, and I will include it in next week's brief. Here's what I want you to do. Here's my challenge to you. The first thing I want you to do is talk to somebody about preparedness. Go evangelize about preparedness. You could literally save somebody's life. We don't know what's coming, but we suspect we know what's coming in the days ahead. You could literally save somebody's life. Go talk to them about preparedness. Whatever that might look like for you, where they are at. You know somebody right now that you wish you could talk to about this. Here's my challenge. Grow a set of balls and go talk to them about it. Buy them a cup of coffee. Bump into them at church and ask for a little sidebar after service. Whatever it might be. But get out of your own head and go talk to somebody about preparedness. That's the first aspect. The second aspect, equip and empower yourself to make a meaningful difference if somebody gets injured around you. Thanks, Jode. First aid kits and training. They don't need to be our kits either. Ours are the best. But you can buy a kit from any other reputable dealer. Go to the Iridium group in Canada, right? Oh, you don't like Bear, but you like Skinny Medic. Cool, go buy a Skinny Medic kit. Whatever. Big John Lovell fan. Okay, get his ankle kit. I don't care. Don't care. And learn how to use that stuff. We have a free trauma medicine playlist here on YouTube. Watch it. Do what I do in the videos. Spend Sunday afternoon this week doing it. Bust open your trainer kit and do it. Okay? Not just buy the stuff. Know how to use the stuff. That's the second aspect. Save one more. The third aspect, and some of y'all are going to hate this. I don't care. You need to be telling people about Mashiach, Messiah. You need to be telling people about the fact that the creator of the universe loved them so much that he killed himself so they could come home again. Because that's ultimately what matters. That's the good news, man. That's the big deal. That's why the gospel is called the good news. Good news. You're not a piece of shit. The Father does love you. There's a way for you to come home again. There is a way to wash off the weight of the world from you and to remove all of the guilt and pain and heartache that you've been suffering under. That's already been bought and paid for. You need to have that conversation with people or person. Maybe there's one person you need to reach out to and to say, hey man, you've really been on my heart. I love you. That's why I need to have this conversation with you. I just want to let you know you matter. And you matter so much that God himself became flesh and killed himself for you so he could take all that shit away from you so that you could come cleanly back into the family of the Most High. Save one more. Because if you're not doing that, if we're not doing that, this prepper shit doesn't matter. You can survive everything this world has to throw at you just so that you could be dead forever at the end of an age. That's stupid. That's really stupid. And I realize many of y'all You're like, I don't like religion. Me either. I hate religion. Religion is bullshit. Religion is man-made doctrines and dogmas. But a relationship with the creator of the universe is not religion. The acknowledgement of his son as Mashiach is not religion. That's my challenge to you. If you engage in any or all facets of that Save One More challenge, shoot us an email, intel@bearindependent, and let us know. I'd like to know. I'd like to share that next week as part of the good stuff that's going on out there in the world. You guys know about Refuge Training. Go to class. Learn the fine art of how to not die. I think there's a few slots left in Waco. I think 2 slots opened up in Boise. I don't know if they're already spoken for or not yet. So I would go to like the website right now and go check for Boise. And then there's classes in Dallas as well. Strongly recommend if you're in Dallas or near enough to drive to Dallas, you need to know how to not die. Population density sucks there. So refugetraining.com. You carried this over, so I guess we're just going to talk about it real quick. We needed to know last week what this singing, oh my gosh, it feels like a fish. I thought it was hard plastic. That's gross. We needed to know what Big Mouth Billy Bass would sing, and he plays Don't Worry, Be Happy, and I Will Survive, apparently.
Less than
All
5
right.
seconds, there you go. We were gonna put it in the office so that every time you walked in, the sensor went off.
That's a
Just
great
like this,
idea.
yeah.
I like that. That thing's going to get shot sooner or later.
That's what I said. Yeah.
So yes, now we know what Big Mouth Billy Bass sings. So good work, team.
You're a bad admin. Was the one who
Oh yeah, the bad did that? Okay. Thank you, Bath. And lastly, Grindstone Ministries, man. If you think it's a bad deal for kids to get serially raped and sold as product, so do we. If you'd like to help us deal with that, grindstoneministries.com is your touch point. Grindstone is a construction ministry, and a subsidiary of Grindstone is Caleb House. Caleb House is a restoration facility for juvenile human trafficking survivors. And we got our hands full. We have a couple dozen people that are in our care right now, and we don't even have our facility built yet. So the Father saw fit to give us the people without the facility to address the need, which is fine. We're getting through it. Like, we've got houses and people and groceries and vehicles, and like we're doing all of it. But it's been a little stressful. I'll tell you that. When people are like, "Damn, Bear, you look tired and you're grumpy." Yeah, we've had our hands full, man. We've been a little busy. So, anywho, if you'd like to know more about that, you can visit us at grindstoneministries.com. And I just want to thank every one of you who are lifting us up in prayer, praying over the mission of Grindstone and Caleb House. You guys are awesome. That's it. That's the brief for today. Y'all go do good stuff. Go be the light. Go save one more. However it is that you save one more, go save one more. Don't be afraid. Fear nothing but Yahweh your Elohim, the Lord your God. The fears of the enemy. That's it. There's nothing but righteous fear in your life. And righteous fear, that Hebrew word fear, means to deeply respect. You should righteously, deeply respect the creator of the universe and walk in his ways to the best of his ability. And if you find yourself getting breathless and afraid, that's not of him. That's of the enemy. So you rebuke that shit in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach, and you carry on with your mission. Y'all have a blessed day. Shalom.